The environment classes of 2020 and 2021, and friends and family. Before we begin, I would like to offer a land acknowledgement to express our respect and recognition of the land that we're on today. Recognizing the history of the indigenous peoples and nations who came before us and who remain with us. Yale University acknowledges that indigenous peoples and nations, including Mohegan, Mashantucket Pequot, Eastern Pequot, Schaghticoke, Golden Hill Pagusset, Neantic, and the Quinnipiac and other Algonquin-speaking peoples have stewarded through the generations the lands and waterways of what is now known as Connecticut. I say this so that we might honor and respect the enduring relationship that exists between these peoples and nations and the land on which our school is located. I want to welcome everyone to the special commencement for the class of 2020 and 2021 graduates for the Yale School of the Environment. I want to especially welcome parents, grandparents, families, and friends who were not able to join us to celebrate the incredible accomplishments of these alumni due to the COVID pandemic. And a special thank you to our flag bearer, Morgan Pierce, and our student marshal, Reed Lewis. It's a real pleasure to have all of you with us today, and I do want to say that we're happy that you made it here safely, but I do want to let you know that it's possible that you might want to consider masking. We have quite an outbreak going on in our region, and I do want to let the students know that we'll follow the President's example this morning, and as much as I want to hug and shake your hand, I'm going to bump your fist. And I believe that Senior Associate Dean Zimmerman is going to do the same. So I'm really glad that all of you are here. You've traveled a very long distance, and so has your family. You've traveled all the way from people I met last night came in from California, Wyoming, DC, and Germany. And I know there are more and others, and we're so honored to have you with us. I'd like to invite the class of 2020 and 2021 to thank their families and friends who supported them so much through their education. None of us gets through graduate school without supportive family and friends. Let's give our guests a hearty round of applause. Now I'd like to invite the class of 2020 and 2021 to thank the faculty and staff of the Yale School of the Environment. The faculty and staff members are the heart of the institution. The faculty and staff are here to teach you, to counsel you, to support you, and to guide you through your time. They worked especially hard during the pandemic to pivot their teaching, to support your safety, to communicate regularly, to support you in the myriad of difficulties we all experienced during the pandemic, and to help you find jobs, all while keeping their own children and parents and partners supported and safe as well. They're true stars. Please recognize the faculty and staff of the school. Among the things that I've realized while studying hard all your name pronunciations for later in the ceremony is that I know you better than I know the graduating class, which has had a full 2 years of pandemic-style education and interaction. I haven't seen them frequently in the halls as I saw you, nor eaten lunch with many of them, nor hung out at mods with them as I did with you. And it's really wonderful to have you here back with us now in person. I feel as though it's a joyous reunion as well as a celebration of your academic accomplishments. I've addressed both of your classes during the virtual graduations that we had for you, And you need not hear me say all that again, especially as we have a wonderful commencement speaker this year just for you. But I'd like to say just a bit to you about how much we need your leadership in the world, how much we want you to be engaged with us in the future. You had your final days with us under strange circumstances, online or hybrid classes, doing much of your work in your own apartment, either here in New Haven or very distantly, virtually connecting with us. And some of you took classes right here in the tent, all the way into November of 2020 with blankets and down jackets, while we remotely brought into the classroom here in the tent individuals from 17 different time zones. You fledged from our school into the world during a worldwide crisis of many dimensions, and now you've worked for a year or more during the crisis, with wave after wave of the coronavirus changing and sculpting our lives and institutions, requiring an unknown nimbleness we didn't know we had, and disproportionately impacting vulnerable individuals of all types across the globe. Since March of 2020, when you were all here with us, at least 6.25 million people worldwide have died of COVID, many of whom lived in the worst conditions and had the least access to health care or vaccine. The hottest month in Earth's recorded history occurred since you left in July 2021. There have been large, uncontrollable wildfires just last year. More than 3 million acres burned in the U.S., 20 million acres in Siberia, 7 million acres in Europe, and nearly 500,000 acres have burned already this year. In 2020, there were more hurricanes than ever before on record. This April, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report stated that it will take Herculean efforts to keep temperatures below a 1.5 degree centigrade increase over 1960 levels, and even a 2 degrees C increase will be difficult to avoid, and that's the threshold that scientists have set for catastrophic warming. A new war broke out in Ukraine, and a long-term civil war and attendant humanitarian crisis persists in Syria. And worldwide, people have become more and more polarized, the more dire the climate and pandemic and food shortages become. These chasms seem wider in many countries around the world, with more bellicose and strident arguments, and there are fewer wise listeners and sincere engagers out there leading. This is why we need you. We need you leading where you are, and we're so proud of you, and we're depending on you. You're listeners, wise engagers, creative innovators, negotiators, and experts in your field. You're connected to and a part of the backbone of the most powerful environmental network in the world, the YSC Alumni Network. In sustainability, science, academia, governments all over the world, nonprofits, and more. I was really happy to hear last evening from many of you who said things like, "My job is so fulfilling and challenging, and I feel like I'm making an important difference." One of you said that you feel now that you can sit at a table of leaders as a peer because others are, in your words, just as smart and as stupid as I am. I'm so glad that you will be leading for decades around the world, longer than a pandemic or than political terms, through your scholarship, through your strategic development and support of policies, your activism, and through creating new tools of many kinds to address sustainability and biodiversity challenges and new unforeseen crises. Some of you have already leaned into leadership roles in the school's alumni network, helping our school to think boldly and grow in new ways. I'm really grateful for that. I hope many of you can continue or begin to engage with us. There are so many ways that you can help us. Tell us or send us your reflections to me, the faculty, the alumni, or career office about your favorite courses, about skills you wish you had learned. Tell us what parts of your education you're relying on and what you think we can provide to better prepare our graduates. The world is changing rapidly, and so must our curricula. We yearn to learn and hear from you because we want to be nimble to best prepare our alumni in this incredibly dynamic world. And as you know, you can't grow without good, constructive, wise, and creative feedback. I learned some important things from talking with you even last night, wishing that you had taken more accounting, about thinking we need new coursework in carbon markets, about wishing you'd had more opportunity to write policy briefs. I'm looking at the Senior Associate Dean of Curricula here. This is important feedback, and I heard you, and we need you. Please join Alumni Fire, and if you haven't, join it now. Offer a student following your path some sage advice or career connections. Take advantage of the network yourself and of us when you need helpful advice. Come to reunions in October every year. They're available to every alum. They're most actively participated in on the 5th and 10th year anniversaries, but you may always come. We value you as members of our community as long as you live. Thank you. I now would like to welcome the Logarithms to the stage for a musical performance.
Bum 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 bum. We shared the years, we shared each day, in love together, we found a way. But soon bum bum had its own way. So what, we get jobs, no more GHGs, we're just having fun, so we moved to DC. So what, we get jobs, that's how it's supposed to be, living young and wild and free. I'm going through changes, still looking for jobs. We're all stuck inside, we have no one to see, still looking for jobs, COVID-19, we're all stuck inside, we have no one to see, so while we get drunk, Zoom University, but at least we got a degree. Home, let me come home. Home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Indy, I'm coming home. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Call me. Oh, just call me. Call me. Call me. Oh, baby, just call me. Call me. Call me.
Man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciennes, trying to bring out the fabulous. Cause I give a fuck way too much. I'ma need like 2 shots in my cup. Right. It's about damn time. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciennes, trying to bring out the fabulous. Cause I give a fuck way too much. I'ma need like 2 shots in my
Am I on, Will? Okay. On a little more somber note, first I want to thank you for that wonderful performance, Logarithms, and for... It's a wonderful tradition to keep alive. I now invite Allegra Lovejoy, class of 2022, and a joint master's with divinity to the stage, and she'll provide an invocation.
Please join me in a mood of contemplation. We have graduated into an urgent world situation. We are charting an uncertain path through fire and flood, fear and anguish in the human and natural world. Today, we sit here side by side under the warm spring sun. Today, we feel the support of friends, loved ones, teachers, and mentors. We cherish one another. Today, we are grateful for the wisdom and courage we received while students. We honor the challenges and growth we have lived through in the time since our departure. We remember those who have celebrated with us when we are joyful and who lifted us up when we needed help. During our weekend here together, may we be rejuvenated in courage, hope, inspiration, and in the knowledge that we work together in one great movement for the protection of life on this planet. May the warmth of the sun and the coolness of the moon nourish you. May the freshness of the air and the moisture of rain sustain you. May the wisdom of the trees guide you, and may the love of community keep you always in hope. Together, may we trust that we are being drawn into a purpose far beyond our understanding.
Next, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Katie Dykes. Katie is the Commissioner of Connecticut's Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Katie joined Connecticut DEEP in March 2012 after prior service as Deputy General Counsel for the White House Council on Environmental Quality and as legal advisor to the General Counsel for the U.S. Department of Energy. She's a graduate of Yale College and the Yale Law School and a good friend of YSC. And I understand that Katie has let us know in the career office very recently that there are over 100 new jobs available in the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Katie, welcome back to YSC.
Well, what an incredible honor it is to be here at the Yale School of the Environment for this amazingly special day. Thank you, Dean Burke and the Student Services and Alumni teams for allowing me to be part of this just special occasion. And especially, I want to thank all of you in the classes of 2020 and 2021 for coming back to campus to make this celebration possible. I have been a Yale School of the Environment wannabe for most of my life. As a kid growing up in West Virginia who loved the outdoors and the daughter of a high school environmental science teacher, when I first came to Yale as an undergrad, I cured my homesickness by taking forestry school classes. I spent my summer up at Hubbard Brook DBHing trees. I knew I'd get some cred for that. And when I came back to campus for law school, I became an environment school groupie once again. Today, I have the great privilege of serving as the Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, succeeding in that job to YSE faculty all-stars Dan Esty and Rob Klee. And where I also get the privilege to get to work with Kate Donatelli, class of 2020, who's here today. She's doing amazing, amazing work and will also help recruit you to come and work at DEEP. Like many of you, I spend a fair amount of my professional life confronting the daunting emission reduction pathways and the steep technology adoption curves that are required of all of us to stave off our worst environmental catastrophes. But I believe that our best chance at averting catastrophe also depends on another trajectory: the rapid acceleration of young people, young environmental professionals like you, into positions of leadership in the great institutions of our country. So what I want to tell you today is how very possible it is to become an impactful leader early in your career. I didn't say easy, but possible. And for the health of our planet, it's important to become a courageous leader early in your career. To be honest, for me, and I think probably for most people, unless you're a megalomaniac, being a leader is not a very comfortable thing. And the best way I know how to do it is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Let me tell you what that means. Number one, get comfortable with being a decision maker. So 10 years ago, I was maybe 2 or 3 years out of law school when I landed my dream job in the Obama administration. I served as the Deputy General Counsel at the White House Council on Environmental Quality. And I was so excited about that job because I'd get to play a little bit part, be in the room for some of the biggest environmental and climate issues that were going on at the time in the federal government. But the other part of that job was that I was put in charge of the Freedom of Information Act requests, handling ethics questions, helping HR with employment law issues. Candidly, that was the part of the role I was the least excited about. But looking back, I think it was the most consequential. For most of my other assignments, I was researching memos that would help the higher-ups make recommendations to the even more senior decision makers in the White House. But when it came to FOIA and ethics, the higher-ups were coming to me with their questions. I was terrified I would screw up and get my boss hauled in front of a congressional oversight committee. But with every decision I made, little by little, in my little corner of the universe, I felt more comfortable making the call, building up my gut instincts, that sense of judgment, figuring out where it was a black and white answer or where a more creative solution could work. Getting comfortable with being the one making decisions, even on something that seems really small and inconsequential, is some of the best experience you can get early in your career. It's that decision-making experience that helped me land my next job as a deputy commissioner here in Connecticut, becoming at age 34 a leader in the state's energy policy. Number 2, get comfortable with not waiting your turn. Last week, the Connecticut legislature wrapped up one of the biggest sessions in our state's history for climate policy. One of the biggest wins was a huge clean transportation bill that will accelerate adoption of electric bikes, electric transit buses, school buses, and trucks, steered in large part by a very powerful state senator from Fairfield County, who's just 26 years old. That's not a coincidence. He was elected right out of college in 2018, a year when many, many young people and political newcomers got on the ballot and into office. Stepping out of line was risky and uncomfortable, but it brought energetic, new voices to critical issues like the environment in our state. And that lesson doesn't just apply to running for office. If there's an opening for a leadership position in the place where you work and you think you're not qualified, apply anyway. If you get turned down, ask them why you got turned down and what you need to do to be ready the next time. Don't wait just because the people who normally hold those positions don't look like you or share your life experiences. In 2015, I think I became the first female chairperson of Connecticut's Public Utility Commission. I am pretty confident, though, that I became the first chairperson of Connecticut's Public Utility Commission to store breast milk in the commissioner's office refrigerator. It was awkward, and it wasn't pretty, but being a working mom was part of my professional life. I had to abruptly cancel hearings a couple times when my kids spiked a fever at daycare. I had spit up on my blazer. I ran quite a few conference calls with the chaos of my little kids in the background, something that, believe it or not, before the pandemic was a really weird thing. But the world didn't end, and in fact, I think it became a little bit more forgiving. And other working parents told me that my example created a little slack for them as well, and to me, that meant a lot. Number 3, get comfortable with speaking up. It's pretty amazing to me that as we take on the most significant environmental challenges of our in human history, we're doing so through some fairly antique institutions. Federal agencies and environmental statutes that were written in the 70s and the 30s, infrastructure built during the New Deal era, public utility commissions hatched by populists, a democracy founded 245 years ago. These institutions have enormous impact, but they also have their established cultures, their checks and balances, their inequities, and their blind spots. They're naturally resistant in the most boring and cheerful ways sometimes to the kinds of urgent changes that we need. So going against the business as usual is going to feel uncomfortable. My message to you is don't be surprised by that feeling. Be prepared for it, because you're going to find yourself in a meeting, in a job interview, in a hearing, something that feels to everybody else kind of routine and unremarkable, but where there's something that's on the table, something that's being decided that just is not compatible with our values and with the environmental trajectory that we need to be on. And I'm not just talking about the big obvious issues like reviewing a permit for, I don't know, a new natural gas power plant. I'm also talking about the less obvious ones, especially when you notice that something's missing. Why didn't we get any grant applications from environmental justice communities for our transit subsidies? Why did we not get any more candidates with the types of diverse backgrounds that we're looking for the roles that we're trying to fill that are serving those communities? Why are we using 40 years of weather data in modeling our electric power grid that embeds within it a future that is not happening around us? The real institutional change sometimes means screwing up the schedule, ripping things up, starting the process over, reprogramming the model, consulting someone new. It can mean being unpopular, being irritating, being annoying. It takes courage to speak up in those moments, but in my experience, courage is rarely something that just hits you like a lightning bolt. You have to prepare ahead of time to practice being ill at ease. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable so that your courage can be revealed. If you prepare yourself in advance for that self-doubt and that lonely, awkward feeling that goes along with speaking up, you won't miss your moment. But just making little decisions, saying the thing that needs to be said, gets a little easier every time you do it. And more importantly, it's contagious. It gives courage and clarity to everyone else in your community and in your institution, and that's where the real impact occurs. Number 4, get comfortable with listening. One of the hardest things for leaders to do sometimes is to listen to ideas other than their own. And so my last piece of advice to you is to stay curious about the people and the communities around you. Don't let all this specialized knowledge that you've gained as an environmental professional crowd out who you were and what you knew about the world before you arrived here. Remember that clean transportation legislation that I mentioned a few minutes ago, the bill that just passed? We've been working on that effort in one form or another for a year and a half. It started off as a climate initiative because vehicle exhaust from the transportation sector is the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in our state. But it wasn't climate activism alone that carried that bill to the governor's desk. If you were only focused on the GHG emissions, you might not be aware as we stand here that New Haven ranks 5th and Hartford 17th on the list of the most challenging places in the United States to live with asthma, another result of transportation emissions. Months and months of dialogue on this legislation brought together advocates working on health equity and racial justice and transportation access, with car dealers and businesses who wanted the lower fuel and maintenance costs of an electric vehicle fleet. The legislation succeeded not because we made climate everyone's top priority, but because we found climate solutions that matched everyone's priorities. It succeeded because we listened. So in a time when special interests have made environmental progress a polarizing issue, it might be a little relief to know that you don't have to convince everyone to believe and care about the exact same things that you do in order to get the outcome that you want. And in fact, one of the best ways to make progress is to listen, to be genuinely curious about what other people care about. It can be uncomfortable, but curiosity and empathy are the best tools we may have to solve our environmental challenges. I want to end by saying congratulations and thank you. As environmental professionals, you've committed yourselves to the greatest mission of our time, securing a livable planet. I know from personal experience that if we're not careful, the possibility of failing in this mission can overwhelm us with the most terrifying despair. But don't forget, it took many, many generations for the accumulated failings and flaws of humanity to bring us to this perilous place. We can't possibly take on the psychic responsibility for solving all of these problems ourselves. But it is our responsibility to try the best we can. And the best way to try is with the best parts of our humanity: courage, curiosity, empathy, and love. In this field, it's that kind of trying that will bring you unbelievable joy. Environmental work can be so restorative, building transformative bonds between people and special places, And your presence here today at this special place is an example of just that. Coming together after 2 years of social distancing, gathering with your friends and your family from all corners of the earth. You know that the reason this place is special is because of the people it's connected. My hope for you is that you'll keep coming back to each other. Take care of yourselves and one another. Thank you.
Katie, you're awesome. Thank you. We're now getting to the point that you have been waiting for, celebrating each of our alumni individually and inviting them up to the stage. Although this year is different from a typical commencement, we're really grateful to have the space to safely come together on campus to recognize each of you individually. Once we have called each name and everyone has been called, we'll leave you through an alumnus pinning ceremony. I will begin by calling our master's graduates from the class of 2020. You may follow along using the program, and please stay seated, graduates, alumni, until an usher asks you to approach the stage. After your name is called, a photographer will approach the stage and take a picture, and an usher will take you back to your seats. So I'm going to begin by calling the class of 2020. I begin by calling the Master of Environmental Management alumni. Eric James Anderson. Eve Barnett. Sundara Bundaram. Umang Butray. Hope Bigda Payton. Oops, stop. Catherine McCarthy Blow. Sophie Bame. Elizabeth Bourget. Lonnie Cantu and her special product. Oh, stop. Yep. We need one more. Abigail Wenheng Chan. Sandra Cheery. Ben Christensen. Joya Montana Cannell. Samuel Corden. Andrea Cruz Quidoz. Congratulations. Daniel Chunt. Tobias Conte Darroz. Hannah Darren. Sarah Mia Del Fiara. Kate Donatelli. Britta Dash. Margaret Ferrata. Shay Flanagan. Madeline Sadie Fries. Bia Grinziara. Sorry. Kareem Hamid. Kelsey Hartman. Anna Sophia Elizabeth Haub. Alejandra Magale Hernandez. Daniela Ojos. Carlos Ibarra. Lucas Isakowitz. Emma Johnson. Alex Jillian Cashton.
Thank you.
Maya Kassoff. Benjamin Linthicum. Catherine Kelsey Logan. Allegra Lovejoy. Congratulations. Noor Mardini. Melissa Ann Mazzeo. Angus McLean. Rebecca Lynn McLean. Teresa Jane Mitchell.
Thank you, Dean.
Elisheva Middleman. Talia Niederman. Christina Dorotea Ospina. Morgan Leone Pierce. Jen Shin. Catherine Sirks. David Jaffe Solomon. Gus Steyer. Julia Sullivan. Margaret Talmadge. Sophie Tyak. Emily Montana Tucker. Conde Lisa Uwiziamana. Noah Weingart. I now call upon the 2020 Master of Environmental Science degrees. Allison Adams. Danielle Glass. Madeline O'Brien. Ella Toussaint Schmidt. Mary Scholl. Lucian Richard Swichinski. Better late than never. Amy Zuckerwise. And now I call upon the 2020 Master of Forestry degrees. Skylar Reed Borden. Austin Zicki. Devin Erickson. Reed Harold Lewis. Get over here. Gabriela Morales Nieves. Ariana Nuri. Karam Shaban. Michael Storaci. Brittany Wenke. Congratulations, 2020 master's graduates. I will now ask Professor and Senior Associate Dean of Research Oz Schmitz to call upon our PhD graduates from the class of 2020.
So we have a wonderful tradition where the PhD advisor gets to hood the doctoral student as part of the ceremony. I'd like to call the two doctoral students who are joining us today. Ken Wong, Augmented Compound Urban Temperature Extreme Acute from Climate Change and Urban Expansion, Global Risk and Adaptation. His advisor was Dr. Karen Cito, but Julie Zimmerman will hood him in her absence. Dr. Wong's dissertation was a geospatial and computational tour de force, and it produced the first global forecast of urban land expansion to 2050 and its effect on urban heat islands worldwide. His research directly contributed to the latest UN climate change report and shows that urban land expansion will cause average summertime temperatures in some cities to increase up to 3 degrees Celsius. Not 1.5, not 2, 3 degrees, about 5.5 degrees Fahrenheit. This will increase extreme heat risks for about half of the world's future urban population and exacerbate the effects of global warming. After a successful postdoctoral fellowship at NCAR, Dr. Wong is currently a tenure-track professor at NYU's Shanghai campus. Congratulations, Dr. Wong. I now call upon Lauren Pincus toward. Her dissertation title is Towards Sustainable Water Treatment, Development of Multifunctional and Selective Biomaterial Adsorbents for the Removal of Arsenic from Drinking Water, and her advisor was Professor Julie Zimmerman. Access to clean drinking water is a basic human right, yet over 1 billion people on the planet lack access to a safe source. In particular, arsenic-contaminated drinking water is responsible for the largest global mass poisoning in the history in India and Bangladesh, where approximately 85 million people have been exposed to either drinking water or crops contaminated with arsenic. Within the United States, high costs of treatment in small to very small communities pose significant barriers to removal of those contaminants and to regulatory limits. Lauren's work advanced the goal of providing safe, reliable, affordable drinking water by developing novel drinking water treatment technologies using waste bioplastics and an abundant earth elements. This work can be extended to target other contaminants of interest in the future, both organic and inorganic, expanding the number of people who can realize their basic human right to clean drinking water. Congratulations, Dr. Pincus.
I'm not live. Oh, am I live now? Oh, okay. Maybe I just switched. Okay. I'm now calling on the 2021 Masters of Environmental Management, Forrest Abbott Lum. Shimon Bijur. Michaela Katina. Jamie Chia. Neeraj Chopati. Svetlana Gabrilian. Liam Chun Hong Gun. Get over here. Diego Angel Hakim. Tiffany Mayville. Emily Zenobia Newman. Julia Nojime. Devin Osborne. Hardik Pokril. Claudia Sanchez de Losada. Hamna Sharif. Natalie Simoes. Urvi Talati. Malika Talwar. I now call upon the 2021 Master of Science degrees. Jenna Davis. Ayman Edamani. Rachel Ross. Let's have another round of applause for the 2020 and 21 Masters students. As so many alumni who have come before you over the last 120 years have found, you may have graduated, but you will never really leave YSC. You're a permanent part of our tight-knit community. Now I would like to invite Ann Peters, 76 alum of Master of Forest Science and a member of the YSC Alumni Association Board, and among the first 70 women to graduate from YSC, who will be leading us through the pinning ceremony. Ann? To the mic.
Goodness. Well, dear graduates of the class of 2020 and 2021, I'm Ann Peters, as Indy said. I'm an alum of the class of 1976 and a member of the YSC Alumni Association Board. And I am so pleased to be here today, and I'm so pleased that you are here today. As Indy said, you will be part of our community forever. You are joining more than 5,500 alumni of our school who will serve as your network of support, personally and professionally throughout your life. Some of you may have already had a taste of this in your time out in the world since leaving YSC. I recall when I graduated the feelings of excitement, exhaustion, concern about the future, and the fact that I was completely broke. So as some of you may share those concerns or not, but what I didn't fully appreciate then was that YSC and our alumni would be a continuing source of friendships, professional contacts, and ideas. The Alumni Network is a terrific resource. And like Indy, I'd like to put in a pitch for reunion, whether it's your class or not. If you can get back to New Haven to participate, please, by all means, consider doing so. It's a wonderful opportunity to meet other alums through, actually, across the world and through the decades, to share ideas, to make connections, sort of in addition to seeing old friends and colleagues. So in that regard, we have a small physical reminder of your connection to YSC and a symbol of your transition to the alumni community for you. Inside your program, you found an envelope marked, "Please save me until the end." So. Inside, you will find a pin. Pull that out, and please rise if you are able. Great. So this pin, the shield of our school, with its oak leaves and acorns representing wisdom and the future, the sun representing the school's broad environmental expanse, or expertise, that is, and expanse, the ermine and cross representing our connection to Yale, is a sign of your alumnihood. We are an interreliant community, and so as a sign of friendship connection, please turn to your neighbor. Yeah. Go ahead. So, right. All right, so if you haven't already, remove the backing and carefully affix the pin on your neighbor's lapel on the same side as their heart. So. Okay. So, congratulations and welcome. You are now, at long last, officially part of the YSE alumni community. We are so excited for you and to see the ways that you will change the world. And I know that you will. So thank you.
We're so proud of you, and we're so excited to see the ways you will change the world to ensure a more sustainable future. Please let us now thank the staff who helped make this wonderful day possible. After we're done, I invite the graduates to sign the YSC book, which has been a part of our community since the very first commencement in 1902, which is available on the bottom floor of Kroon Hall in the Ordway Learning Center before you leave today. There are 2 food tents, and they are over here along the sides. And in a constant effort to be sustainable, I hope everybody both eats, but also notice that we have receptacles for recycling trash and compost. I should note that unfortunately we learned belatedly that the wooden forks that we purchased are not compostable. However, all of our trash goes to a waste-to-energy plant in Bridgeport. I'd now like to invite you all to process out. Audience, why don't we wait till the graduates process out? I think they'll have leaders doing them. Then I invite all of you to follow. Let's congratulate the graduates one more time.